Welcome to 7 powerful practices for your inner perfectionist. I'm so excited you've given yourself the gift of this program to love and be kind, to love you more and be kinder to you. Because you've taken this program, and if you practice, you're going to leave here better able to distinguish you from your thoughts and feelings. You're better able to choose kindness and self-love. And throughout the program, and just actually with my life and with my clients, I use 3 prongs for change. What I've discovered is when we use these 3 elements, change actually happens and lasts. The 3 prongs of lasting change are awareness. Now, many of you are already very good at awareness, but the problem is you're kind of negative with your awareness. You use your awareness to beat yourself up because you did something wrong, you shouldn't have done that, or you should have done that, or blah, 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 blah. With this program, I'll be constantly focusing on using your awareness with kindness. Because contrary to what we've learned, when we are kind to ourselves, we actually move faster to where we want to be. It's not what we learned, but it's actually what works more. You still change when you beat yourself up to change. It's just a lot slower and a lot more painful. So we'll be having awareness with kindness. We'll be practicing that. The second aspect of lasting change is knowing your beliefs. Many of our beliefs, like some say 95% of our actions and thoughts are unconscious. These are the unconscious drivers. Remember, you know how you want to make changes and you find yourself like doing or acting in a way that you don't really want to act. It's just, you just end up doing it. Or you really, really want to create this new behavior change and you just never do it. Much of that is because of our unconscious beliefs. So we'll be working to uncover those beliefs so you now have choice versus them just governing your behavior and your thoughts. The third prong of lasting change is actions. What I've discovered, both in myself and with my clients, is that contrary to what we think, small incremental changes actually are the ones that lead to lasting change. These huge changes that we try to make, often with our New Year's resolutions, hardly ever last. Many of you know this. If you read this book, you're like, oh my God, this book changed my life. I'm going to put everything into practice from this book. And then you don't. Or you go to a weekend workshop or a retreat and you're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm a new person. I now know how to live with kindness and compassion. And then you go home and you go back to your old way of life. While these big changes feel awesome in the moment, they aren't sustainable. One, because you create them in kind of an environment that isn't your everyday environment, especially with retreats or workshops. I love retreats and workshops, don't get me wrong, I love them. I often find that I don't keep the changes. So when you make changes in your regular environment, you make small everyday changes, you will change in the environment you naturally live in, so they will stick. The second aspect about small changes is that they kind of sneak behind our ego, because our ego doesn't like us to make big changes. It actually scares our ego to make big changes, because our ego's job is to keep us safe. And for the ego, it knows if we do the same thing, we've already survived, so we'll be safe. So even these behaviors that we don't like, that cause us issues, our ego, we've done them, we feel safe. Not necessarily comfortable, but we're not going to die. So when we do big changes, and we'll talk about this later, it's too threatening to the ego. So these small changes, it's like the ego's like, well, it's not big. Okay, we'll let it slide. So it's a sneaky way to kind of sneak past your ego. Okay, so those are the 3 prongs of lasting change that are incorporated throughout the entire workshop. In this 3-month workshop, we'll be practicing the tools, having the experience of using the tools. Because we all know the difference between knowing something, oh yeah, I know that, and knowing it, which is actually experiencing. When we experience it, that's when our neural pathways are lined up, and I'll talk a little bit about those later, that's when the changes actually start to stick. Let's see. And we'll be also having others witness these changes, witness what it is that we want to bring in and incorporate and actually have in our daily life. And you'll be practicing these tools during the week, hopefully every day. But if you skip a day or two, that's totally fine, because this is not a perfect workshop. But the more you practice, the more solid these changes that you want to make will become. I have participated in many online coaching programs and in-person coaching and online programs, and I've read a lot of books. And if you're anything like me, one of the things I've noticed is that they give so much information that it's overwhelming. So I actually never put into practice all this wonderful information they're giving me. So what I've done is to, rather than overwhelm you, I've distilled 7 practices into short, easily digestible segments. So you can watch the videos, read the handouts, and start to implement in less than 15 minutes. Most of us have 15 minutes. So you can actually start to create the change you've been yearning for, rather than waiting for that big block of time to implement all the changes. I don't know about you, but I've got way more 15-minute blocks than lots like hour-long things. So what I'll be doing is sending you 6 modules every 2 weeks, and we'll have 1-hour phone calls every other week to help you, so you can share your experience with the other participants. And also what we'll be doing is fine-tuning these powerful practices so they actually work for you. So it's, these practices are awesome, but when you tailor them to you, they become even more powerful. So before I end, I want to quickly talk about 4 aspects of how our brain naturally works. Why I love doing this is when I share this with my clients, they're like, oh, so you mean there's nothing wrong with me? I'm like, no, you're just human. I say that constantly, and you'll hear me say it. Oh, you're being human. It's a way to help us be kinder to ourselves right away. So these are 4 aspects of our brain as it naturally works. What we're going to be doing is, with this knowledge, we'll tailor our actions to compensate for them, so we can actually make the changes versus just thinking about making the changes. So the first aspect of the brain I want to talk about is the default mode network. Now, it's really what it says. It's the default mode of our brain. When we're in default mode, our brain is searching for problems. It's searching for things to fix. It's searching for what's wrong. It's naturally searching for this. When we are not actively engaged, many of you know the flow state, and you've probably experienced the flow state. Those moments where you're so lost in what you're doing, time passes, you're engaged, you aren't thinking critically, you're just being in the moment. That's called flow state. They're awesome. We love them. Our brain doesn't naturally hang out in flow state. That takes a lot of conscious effort and practice, and something that's really, really engaging. Most of the time we're in the default mode network. The second aspect of our brain I want to share with you is the number of thoughts we have, many of them unconscious. People posit that we have either between 10,000 and 70,000 thoughts every day. It's a lot of thoughts, right? Most of them unconscious, most of them negative because of our default mode network. So think about that, and we're going to be working a lot with your thoughts. In fact, next module is about that. But if you change even a fraction of your thoughts, think about the impact that will have on your daily life. The third concept I want to share is the concept of Velcro versus Teflon in our brain. Our brain is Velcro for negative. Negative experiences stick. It is Teflon for positive things. The positive just kind of slides off and we don't really pay attention to it. Let me give you an example from my own life. When I first started speaking, I would give out evaluations, and I could be speaking to 100 people, and out of 100 people, almost always, one or two of them didn't really like what I have to say, and they would tell me what they didn't like. And then 98, 99 people were like, fine job, or oh my God, I loved it, it was awesome, it was the best program I've ever attended. Which ones do you think I focused on? Yeah, the one or two negative ones. Those, my whole talk became about those one or two negative people who didn't like what I had to say or how I said it. And the positive ones is like, whatever, they don't mean anything. The negative ones mean something. So that's what our brain naturally does. The negative sticks to our brain. That's the stuff we think about. That's the stuff we tend to obsess on. The positive, like a compliment you get, that's kind of gone. Especially if something negative comes in the meantime, positive is long gone. So what we'll be doing in this program is doing practices that helps the positive stick more to your brain. The fourth concept I'm going to share is one that every brain geek knows. The term neurons that fire together, wire together. Every thought, every behavior, every feeling, every action is simply a pattern of neural pathways. And when, like, an example is when we are depressed, unhappy memories are more easily available because we're thinking depressed thoughts, and all those neurons, all those neural pathways for negative memories, sad memories, depressed memories, are now firing. So all those negative stuff are available, and it's like, you want to think about this memory? You want to think about this one? Well, we got these all available. And so that's, and similarly, when you're thinking happy thoughts, happy memories are also firing, so those are more available. So we'll use this principle. This principle is so powerful when we know it and use it to create lasting change. Because you're literally creating new neural pathways in your brain by taking this program. Yay! All right, so next time I'm going to give you a powerful tool to help you start to shift your negative thinking. The last thing I want to say is I would like to know a little bit about you so I can better support you during our phone calls. So please fill out the questions on the attached handout and send them to me at hello@everydaylove.me before our first phone call. I will leave you with my credo because it is the foundation of what we will be doing together in these next 3 months. When people love themselves, they don't judge others. The more they love themselves, the better boundaries they have. They teach others love by example, not by telling. People who love themselves show others what is possible: kindness, love, acceptance, and forgiveness. I want that for you, me, and everyone we meet. I'm so excited you have given yourself the gift of this course, this gift of kindness, and this time to know yourself and be kinder to yourself, allow more love in, and spread that kindness and love to the entire world. That's what's possible. So until next time, take good care.